So in this video, we begin with example 3. We're rewriting and using formulas for area. And one of the formulas that we want to work with is the formula for the area or for the surface area of a rectangular prism. And a rectangular prism is just a box-like shape. And if you looked at a box, you would see that it has 6 sides to it. And the 6 sides, we would say, they come in pairs of sides. So the top and the bottom become one pair, the left and the right become another pair, and the front and the back become a third pair. And each of those pairs should have the same surface area. Now if you look at, in this case, the top and the bottom have dimensions of length. If you notice along here, we would have a length over here, and they also have a width over here. So the top and the bottom have a formula of length times width. And if we wanted to add them together, we would get 2 length times width. Now, if we were talking about the left and the right, and I'm going to use the word "and" here since I'm actually adding them together. So if you notice that with the sides, we have a width and a height, and so its area would be h times w, or w times h, and 2 of them would give us 2. Let's put that in blue. 2wh, and finally the top and the bottom, if you notice that they have a width, we did top and bottom already. So instead of top and bottom, again, we have front and back. And with the front and back, we have a height and we have a length. And so for 2 of them, we'd have 2 times LH. Alright, so you can see that the surface area of the whole would be area, or they call it S, is equal to 2LW plus their formula 2LH, doesn't matter which ones we put in which order here, plus 2WH. And they want us to solve that for L. Alright, so what we're going to need to do in order to do this, if you notice over here, we do have a couple of L's on the right side. So we're going to have to factor those. But in the meantime, before we do that, we should subtract out the 2WH, since that doesn't have any L's in it. So I'm going to subtract 2WH from both sides. WH, and remember that on the left side, we now have S minus 2WH. We can't combine those together. The most we can say is it's S minus 2WH. Then we have 2 times LW plus 2LH. And so what I'm going to do with those is, as we saw before, factor out the L from the right side, get 2W plus 2H, and S minus 2WH is still on the left side. Now we can divide both sides by 2W plus 2H, 2W plus 2H, and finally, when the 2W plus 2H cancels on the right, we end up with L is equal to surface area minus 2WH, all divided by 2W plus 2H. And remember, again, because we have more than one term in the denominator, we cannot split that up into multiple fractions. So that was a tough one. a lot of stuff happening there. We had to factor and a lot of things going on there. So this is an example of a problem where we don't have any numbers, any of the dimensions for any of those sides, the length, the width, or the height. And we're simply isolating L from the equation there. So this is a lot tougher. If we had some values, we could plug them in, and we might not be working with so many different letters here. But because we don't have them, we have to keep everything as it is and isolate the L. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to go on to the next example. Okay, in example 4, we're using a formula for area. And what we have here is that you own a rectangular lot that is 500 feet deep. So you see that that says frontage there, and I'm assuming that that's some kind of a road passing along that one side of your property there. But it goes 500 feet deep, and it has a total area of 100,000 square feet. So here's an example of where we can actually plug something in. We know that the area of a rectangle is length times width. So in this case it would be 500 times W, and we do know that we have 100,000 square feet of area. So we would end up with this equation, which we could easily solve for W. We're trying to find out what the width is, which is also called, well, the frontage is equal to the width of the property. And so we would end up with W is equal to 200 feet. And so the frontage is 200 feet. What this all means is this, is because there is a street there, if the town wants to put in a new water system or some kind of new plumbing system, they're going to put it in so that it runs alongside the city streets so that it's easy for them to get to it if they need to repair it, etc. And they don't want to run it through your property, and you probably don't want them running the new piping or the new water system through your property. So, and maybe that is water system to bring water to your house. So all of those are the city's responsibilities. But because your property is affected by that, or it is affected by your property, and it needs to pass through your property or bring water to your property, and you're going to benefit from that in some kind of way, you have to pay what's called an assessment. So you're assessed $5.50 per foot of lot frontage. So to answer to question A, as we've already seen, it's we set up the equation 500W is 100,000. Then we divide by 500, and we ended up with the width of your property, which is the frontage, is 200 feet. So that answers question A. Question B would say, how much are you assessed? Well, you're assessed $5.50 for every foot of lot frontage. So we would say that it's 550 times 200. That would be $1,100. $1,100. All right, so those are the two answers that we needed. We know that the width, which is equal to the frontage, is 200 feet, and we know that the assessment for the new water system would be $1,100 for your property. Okay, then we're going to stop this video at this point, and we'll pick up with the next examples from the lesson.